Hey everybody, Tyler here with a quick announcement. This was a big episode for us. We had quite a few hiccups though. We had our first guest tonight, but it was also my first night with the new laptop. So I used the wrong mic. I used my internal mic. It sounds like I'm in a big room, which really sucks. And also, thought my mic was muted a couple of times and it wasn't, so you guys get to hear me cough. That's great for you. I was having a lot of trouble there in the beginning, so that's why our cold intro into our opener is kind of awkward. But just bear with us. Other than that, I think it's a great episode and you guys are really going to love it. Let's dig in.
Well, it's no secret now.
Whoa. Decline. What the
I'm leaving this meeting. I did not consent to my voice being recorded. I am not going to be tracked down when you talk to me about purple mattresses.
Not today, Satan.
I didn't know that the word marijuana was of a Mexican origin. Do you guys know that?
I just watched
it makes so much sense. Obviously,
that's the reason.
Marijuana,
it was to scare people. The whole reason it became illegal was the name, the connotation. Marijuana, it was to scare people, bro. Back in the 30s when it became illegal, it would make what was it, white women sleep with black men, and then the whole marijuana name, it was to scare people because it was fucking Hispanic.
That is the deadliest sin. Interracial couples. Let's just say it. You cannot come back from that. And it looks like Tyler really can't come back from being frozen either. So
yeah, he got stuck.
He's having a tough night.
He's in a universe where he's just constantly smiling. It's a good place to be.
He's
in the multiverse, bro.
That's why I made that face.
Keep running. Oh, okay. Well, his mic took a shit, so.
Oh, that's good.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, man. So that's exciting. Now it's gonna be awkward because Tyler was supposed to do our intro and I didn't practice.
Well, I mean, we can edit out this little shit bit if we have to, or we may keep it. We're known for putting up hot garbage, so.
Oh yeah, we love producing hot piles of shit.
Yes.
People to waste their life away too.
Well, I can go ahead and confirm that this is our 10th episode, and we do have our first guest on the podcast, which is a good friend of mine, Matt, and he is here to discuss some legalization and marijuana related topics with us tonight. Matt and I used to work together for an undisclosed company of pure evil, and I still work for said pure evil because I'm a sucker. But Matt saw the light and got out while he still could. But he does have the same industry experience I have, if not even a little bit more. Matt got to do the cool part, which was extraction. Where we take plant material and we use a solventless extraction with CO2 to create distillate. And Matt can really tell you a whole lot more about how that works than I can. So, but Matt, welcome to the show, sir. It's good to have you.
Oh yeah, glad to be here, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. It's
thanks.
It's super fun.
Yeah,
we have that's cool.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I definitely appreciate it. I'm looking forward to chopping up with you fellas tonight.
Yeah, man, this is 10 episodes. Honestly, didn't think we were gonna make it past 2, so definitely a milestone for us. And having our first guest is definitely exciting as well. Unfortunately, Tyler's having some garbage issues right now, so he'll be joining us here shortly. But
yes,
it's gonna be a good night. We're gonna have some good conversations, some good laughs, and hopefully you'll enjoy yourself while you're here for the next
It's
eternity,
probably
essentially.
I'm already counting on this being a 2-hour episode at the rate we're going.
100%.
If
100%.
that jives for you, Matt.
It's all good, bro. I'm here. I'm chilling, man.
All right, cool.
I got the dab ready to go. I got some weed.
Yeah.
Saturday for the boys.
Yes, sir. No other way to have it. So, without further ado, while we wait on our knight in shining armor, Tyler, Matt, you want to give us a little bit of, just background on what you are, who you are, and what you're doing these days for the good listeners?
Yeah, for sure, man. So, like you mentioned, we share the love for the marijuana, the devil plant, the devil's lettuce.
Yes, sir.
It's been a big influence on me for, since I was a teenager up to present. But other than that, man, family man, got 4 kids, possibly a 5th one down the line. We'll see. But hey, I'm just taking it easy, man. Enjoying the time with the family. And yeah, that's it in a nutshell, man. One day at a time. Love weed. And yeah.
Yep.
Matt, what do you do right now?
I am a project manager for a construction / painting company. So I do quotes here and there and follow up with the jobs. And once they're closed out, everyone's happy and everyone gets paid. So
all right, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah, it's all good.
So, how long did you work with Nick at what we're gonna call the weed factory?
Yeah. So I got hired on Nick, about 3 months before you did, probably something like that, 2-3 months.
Yeah, I would say so.
So I started in August of 2019, right before COVID hit, and my plan was to go for a year and reevaluate. Certain things happen, life, and pretty much happened. So I made it about 8 months in before I put my 2 weeks in. But yeah. Made it almost a year, 8 months.
Not bad. Definitely not bad. It's good. It's nice that you had a plan, of course. And shit happens, as we all know. We all have been shit on a couple times, whether personal lives or in the bedroom. Right. Who knows? Poo pee pee play.
Indeed, man.
Well, it looks like our fearless leader Tyler is back. Struggling a little bit tonight.
Oh yeah. Let's go. Small victories.
All right. So while we're waiting for him to figure out his microphone here, speaking of bad things happening to people. So while you were there, Matt, you worked, as I already stated, in the extraction department.
Oh yeah.
Was there anything, without disclosing too much because you're not really tied down by any NDAs anymore?
Right.
Is there anything about the industry that you took away from it that you want to share with people that maybe is a misconception if you don't work in the industry?
When you say misconception, you mean
like some people think cannabis industry and they automatically get this they get this like mental picture in their head of they're gonna skip through fields of weed and picking buds and putting them in baskets and singing Kumbaya, which is a far cry from how the industry is actually set up.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that that's what you meant, but
yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that is done and said about marijuana that is clearly callous, if you will. Like there's a lot of bad connotations out there, so people just need to be educated on it, man. So people need to learn about terpenes. People need to learn about prescription drugs versus cannabis. Like you can use cannabis to break habits of other drugs. I mean, it's an iceberg of information. So I mean, I think people just need to be educated on the terpene profiles of weed and what those different terpenes will do for your state of mind. I think that's the biggest thing is education. People think weed people just get high, get stoned, and forget to take their trash out. You know what I mean? But in essence, it's not really about that. It's about being happy and being being educated.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a stigma around it still, which our company, and now mine, once yours, but our company is still trying to break those stigmas through the little amount of marketing they're allowed to do. They have you might remember it being introduced, the iCannabis program.
Catch me up, because I'm not totally
No, sure. So iCannabis is just taking like real people with real stories, and they had like these little posters of these people, and they had like little almost like poems or sonnets on them of like their experiences. And then, they're just trying to be relatable to like everyday people, but they obviously work with or consume cannabis in one way or another, which the methods these days go on and on. A lot of people think, they're smoking reefers, man, but honestly, you don't even have to smoke the plant to experience its benefits these days.
Yeah.
So the campaign is mostly surrounded trying to break through stigmas and also educate in a way where, normal everyday people can identify with it a little easier.
Right.
Which, speaks to what you were saying, is there's icebergs of information out there. And I think for the average Joe, you have to kind of I don't want to say dumb it down, but you got to water it down to
you do
a very basic level.
Yeah, because when you start talking about terpenes and all these different fucking catchphrases, people are like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean,
to some people, a terpene is like a turtle or a tortoise. So
yeah. I always think about alcohol and cigarettes. Like, this shit is horrible, right? Like, alcohol. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sipping some rum this evening, like in a controlled setting. But alcohol will tear families apart, right? Like domestic violence. If it's not controlled, and you can 21 years old with a state ID, you can buy it. Cigarettes. Oh my God, that shit is lethal, bro. Like killing people every year. The thing is, like, no one has ever died. Not one person has ever died from consuming cannabis. Like, not one time. But there's all these laws against it. There's all this lack of studies. Like, there's no studies. You can't prove or disprove anything, because it's all it's like hocus pocus. No one can see the good or bad with it. So it's a crazy time we're in right now, because I think we're going to be part of the resurgence of the bright side.
Well, this is basically our prohibition coming to an end.
Yeah. It's huge for us. We get to live through this, and our kids too as well. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna live in a world where it was never illegal. It's like alcohol. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just walk into the liquor store, show your ID, and you can, get your shit together.
Yep. I would say it's probably going to be another, things are moving fast, and I don't want to be, too generous, and I don't want to be, too conservative either. But I would say in the next 10 years, we'll see something like that.
Yeah, I would hope in 5, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be quick. It's going to be at least a half a decade to a decade, man.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, they can rush these fucking, like, not to sound political, but they can rush these vaccines out in like a year, 6 to 8 months, but we can't legalize weed within the next 5 to 10 years. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah,
like, it's just crazy.
Well, considering once again, I'm only going to piggyback for a hot second because you said it, but the vaccines were pumped out pretty quickly, as we all know. And there's a lot of sources saying that they had been studying that specific type of vaccine for like 20 years.
Right.
This is the first time they're applying it in a mass distribution setting, whereas we have cannabis, which is a naturally occurring plant on the earth that has been consumed for thousands of years.
It's comical, bro. It's comical.
So the effects of cannabis are very well documented compared to rushed vaccines. I think that's the statement we're making here.
Yeah.
So Tyler, I want to reintroduce you into the show here, man. Welcome back. No, man. No, you're not.
That's pretty good.
Welcome everybody to TJ and N Shows. Tyler here with Josh and Nick, and tonight's a very special episode. We have our first guest. Matt is here hanging out with us tonight, and we're talking all about legalization. You know, as I always say, legalize it. Okay. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hell yeah.
Doing real good.
We're doing swell, buddy.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm great after all this shit we've been dealing with trying to get this thing recorded.
Yeah.
You know, it's all fun.
It's trials right now, man.
Okay.
But
so as we never give up. It's about drive. It's about power.
Yeah.
We stay hungry.
Nope.
We devour.
Stay hungry.
Nope.
We put in the work.
This is the worst
Put
song
in the
I've ever
hours.
heard in my life.
We take what's ours. Yeah, we're talking legalization tonight. So let's just dive right into it. Let's just off the rip. We're all on board for legalization, 100%, right?
Yes.
Cool. Can we just talk about like what's your main reason, real quick? What's like if someone asks you why we should legalize marijuana, what's the first reason that comes to your mind? I'll go first, so you guys have a second to think. There's so many, but my big one is like an across the board reason everybody can enjoy, which is the tax revenue. I mean, how are you going to turn down free money? Like, no one likes to be taxed, but everyone wants to smoke weed, and everyone's going to pay the tax. I mean, there's boom. If you don't like it, don't do it, but you can still reap the rewards of your better roads, your better schools, and all that. Yeah.
Wow, what a communist thought process.
I know.
So you're a commie. That's all you had to say, big guy.
Actually, it's a socialist.
Yeah. Oh man. Well,
Nick wants to bring back the DARE program that emphasizes the use of marijuana.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm rocking the old DARE shirt tonight, actually, for this episode. So, and in case we didn't establish that already.
What's that stand for? Drugs are really excellent, right?
Yeah, I think so. DARE.
Something I was.
Yeah. I dare to keep kids off drugs.
Perfect. So basically,
that's tonight's message.
But now adults are a different story.
18 years old and it's game on. I'm doing heroin.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna be 21 regardless. So my I'll just go ahead and get mine out of the way for you. My main drive, you know, I personally work in the industry, so I've got that going for me. So obviously I enjoy it, and it's a very big part of my life on a day-to-day basis. But outside of that, man, you know, I've always been under the belief that's a fucking plant. Regardless if you're using it for medicine or if you're just trying to have a good time. It shouldn't have the status it has, because the status of it being a scheduled drug came during a time where capitalism in this country was weeding out what I like to call all of the competition. So you had hemp, which is now legal again for industrial purposes, but look how many years that you couldn't even have hemp in the fields. Because, you know, it could compete with, you know, big paper, it could compete with rope, it can compete with a lot of different markets. And then, you know, then there was the whole fear of like marijuana making white women sleep with black guys. So
it also caused a bloodlust.
Yes. And it's, you know, and the gateway drug bullshit. You know, one of my favorite lines from Half Baked is when Chappelle says, "The only thing it's ever been a gateway to for me for is to the refrigerator." It's like, you know, if you want to consider munchies a bad thing. So
right.
That's some stoner dad humor right there.
Yeah, it is. Sure. So yeah, I just believe in the plant and all of its ways it can be used and purposes, and it's something, in my opinion, that shouldn't have been illegal to begin with. But I digress.
Well, good thing that whole weeding out everybody else doesn't happen anymore, right?
Yeah, right. For the most part.
What do you got, Matt? What's your main reason?
I mean, I've been involved with cannabis one way or another for the past 17, 18, 19, 20 years, and I've seen what it does for people, both recreationally, mentally, health-wise. I mean, even when it comes to with funding and the taxes, the money that it can generate. It's just firsthand knowledge. I see how people like it. No one's ever died from it. I've seen people suffer from alcohol abuse, from cancer from cigarettes, but I've never seen anyone die from weed. So I'm just like, this is weird. I was always told when I was a kid not to smoke this shit because it'll make my eggs turn into mush. My brains, egg, the egg commercial.
Your brain on drugs.
Yeah. So I'm just like, firsthand, 15, 20 years dealing with this shit. I've never seen anybody get hurt. We just share laughs and eat good food, and
chicken nuggets from McDonald's are one hell of a thing.
Right. All 50 of them.
It's all about the nuggies.
Yeah. When you look at everything else that's going on out there with pharmaceuticals and over-the-counter drugs and shit, it's just like, wow, this is really what you guys are doing with this. It's a Schedule 1. So I just think it's comical.
He was number one. It really is. It's hilarious to think it's on the same level as like methamphetamine,
right,
and opium, any kind of opium.
Right.
What you got, Josh?
Yeah, it's good.
I like it. That's
Thank
good.
you.
That's a hot take.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. Please. It's good. Yes. Yeah, man, I'm down. Personal experience. I made a lovely trip to Vegas not too long ago, and I'm just saying that thing was like a jewelry store. I wish I could have took pictures, but they take your phone. So, it was really cool.
Did they have armed guards there?
They have 2 armed guards, one outside, one inside.
How armed?
Just a sidearm.
Just sidearm.
Yeah, sidearm and taser. But it was really cool. You go in and then basically you get patted down and checked your ID at the door. You go into the Sally port. You got an entry person who takes your phone, and then you get buzzed into the other door, and then everything is inside of jewelry cases. And it was like, I don't know. It was cool. It was better than shopping for a diamond ring. But I've also have seen the mental effects that it has, and it has helped, somebody very close to me who suffers from very severe anxiety, and it just mellowed them out, and it makes them feel comfortable to be in their own skin. So I'm all for it. I really am. I don't think that it does anything wrong as long as it's used in a proper setting, like you're not drinking and driving, smoking and driving. Just, the rules that apply to alcohol are going to end up applying to marijuana, because marijuana impairs you in some state. So as long as we can, establish the rules like that, and it doesn't, prevent any type of accidents like that, I'm all for it.
On the driving side of things, Canada statistically didn't notice any upticks after they saw upticks on the first day, but that's credited to everyone being out trying to go to the dispensaries and get weed. But there's not been an overall uptick in any kind of vehicle fatalities or vehicle crashes since the legalization up there.
I actually find that invaluable is when you're not the first to do something like legalize cannabis, but when you have other countries who are our next door neighbors, essentially, doing it, they already have a lot of the data that these people are looking at when they're trying to make a final decision on things.
Yeah, but nobody is to the same standard or quality of America. So we have to show our big old dick to everybody else to be like, hey, your data is actually wrong. Ours is right. No, it's the same.
Yes, I know. I'm just saying that's still invaluable to know that, other countries are having good success with it.
For sure.
And, they're not seeing perceived increases in things like car wrecks because people are driving impaired. But to that stance, I do agree. It's going to get regulated like alcohol, regardless of what the fuck Canada has going on. So
I do want to hit this on the top of the episode real quick, just because I know it's not going to get brought up, and I want to just avoid the whatever. There are drawbacks. I mean, it's not a magical plant that fixes everything. It's not like, I just want to get that out of the way. I don't want to put off the whole. It's magic and it fixes everything. And if you don't like it, something's wrong with you. Like I don't want to I want to avoid that annotation of us talking positively about it the whole episode.
Sure.
I just want to acknowledge that while it's not necessarily a physically addictive substance, person to person, you can have a mental addiction. You can struggle with that. Sure. And it's not for everybody. It doesn't do good for everybody. But I think that's more up to the individual to figure out and be in charge of, and not a government entity.
Word to that.
But circle back. I was asking Josh about how armed the guards were, because I know here in town, I think we have one armed guard, and they're also just sidearm. But apparently, dispensaries are a huge target. Apparently, there's been an uptick of dispensaries being robbed because it's a combination of they have cash on site, because they can't use cards. All transactions are done in cash, and then also they have a high value product. So apparently, it's pretty common for them to be hit up for robberies.
I can believe that coming out of a town like Marion, especially, bro.
Mm-hmm. I don't think ours have been hit, but the one thing I can remember is there was this kid out front. My buddy was a security guard there. There was a kid out front taking a bunch of pictures, and they're like, "What are you doing?" Turns out he knew the kid, and the kid was just posting on Instagram, flexing, like pretending he was going to the dispensary, even though he didn't have his card. He just went take a bunch of pictures so he could flex online.
That's fucking
and that
stupid.
isn't that really funny?
It's fucking ridiculous.
Isn't it, like?
It's sad, but no, man. I think you're right that nothing in this world is perfect. We can sit here all day and talk all about about all the positives and but I think any good position, any good argument anyone has is they're willing to accept the fact that whatever they are for or against, that they can comprehend and recognize that it's not an end all be all solution. But at the end of the day, like you also said, it should be something that it's up to the individual to discover whether or not it should be an option on the table, regardless if you're for it or against it.
Exactly.
So if you're against it, great. There's plenty of people out there who don't drink.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Simply don't. Yet alcohol is legal. And then there are people who are complete and utter filthy drunks who are in the very final stages of kidney failure because they never knew how to get off the drink. So
the sauce.
That was all, those were all personal decisions made by individuals. So
yeah,
that's my main stance on this. So,
no, it's always good to point out the fact that it's not always happy. It's not for everybody. It's a great point.
Well, I mean, you see the trope a lot where it's like, no, yeah, I don't like weed. It's like, you just didn't try the right strain, man.
Yeah, right.
You gotta, it's like,
yeah,
it's not for everybody.
You make a great point for sure. Absolutely.
Do we want to talk about real quick why it's illegal? Just to kind of, just to say that it was racism, this fear of Mexican immigrants, and that's why they changed from the cannabis term to the marijuana term to the foreign word creates fear.
Yes.
And such. Yeah, I get. That's it. I was always under the impression that it was strictly the lumber industry, logging and stuff, that cannabis is a direct competitor to the hemp, like you were saying. But of course, it's also racism. It's always racism.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. That comes back to the whole "it makes white girls sleep with black guys," the reefer madness propaganda, which is now just a cult classic comedy because that's all it can be perceived as at this day and age. So yeah, that's that's that. But other than that, man, it's never killed anyone. It's not that scary. It's it does a lot of good for a lot of people, and the people who have tried it and not had success, that's unfortunate for them, but at least they know now. So
yeah, like we've kind of been talking about, we're definitely at the tipping point on the public perception is changing. From what I've been in my research, I found that I forget what they're called. People that study societal shifts and stuff and opinions say that the tipping point for a major opinion change is 70%. So at least 70% of the populace believes something. It's usually coming down the pipeline in the ways of laws and stuff like that. And then a poll, I didn't get who did the poll. Poll came out this year in April. It showed that 91% of the adults in the United States say it should be recreationally. So, according to that poll, we're well past the 70% tipping point.
Yeah. It's been a long time coming, man. It's been advocated and fought for decades. And before some of us, actually probably most of us were born. Matt, you being 34, that makes you
super boomer,
like a 1987 baby.
Yeah, you got it, bro. Good math.
Yeah.
Good math. 87.
So definitely the flower power movement in the 60s definitely was the catalyst that started the fire. I think bringing public awareness to the plant, taking a lot of the really shitty flack for it, being beaten and hosed down and shot at even at times, and then inevitably being put in prison for life for having a joint on them. Fucking crazy
Shit.
Now, and you also, if marijuana played into the three strike laws in New York and stuff like that. So I mean, you get caught with a single joint 3 times, and you're out of here, buddy.
Yeah, then they're crazy. Like, wow.
Isn't it wild? You're gone. You're gone for good. And we've shifted from that kind of white and black. It's like it's bad, or it's bad. We're kind of in a gray area now. There's a lot of gray, because we have people in this country still going to jail for marijuana, and then also people who are making millions of dollars a year for marijuana.
It's crazy.
We've created this thing called illegal weed. And the 2 main examples of that I've seen is, the standard one where you buy your stuff at a dispensary and you drive 2 hours down the road and all of a sudden everything you have is illegal, because you cross state lines or whatever. And the other one, which I think is even more interesting and kind of fucked up to see how it is used against us, is the fact that they're limiting how much you can grow, which I think is reasonable. But I mean, you could grow 6 plants. Let's say if you have 8, 2 of those are illegal. What does that look like? You know what I mean? Is that just a fine if you get caught, or is that jail time for getting caught with legal weed?
I would have to imagine in a rational stance, at least, that it would be a fine.
Well, I don't know. What are the laws?
And most likely a confiscation. I don't know how you would have to get caught, which there would have there would have to be a really good fucking reason why people are in your house, with a search warrant.
I don't know what it looks like to get caught, let's say, distilling moonshine.
I don't really want to be the guy, Matt, but Matt, Matt has this. Yeah.
I've had my house raided, and I didn't receive any charges. So
did you get a no knock? If you don't mind me asking.
So here's what happened. So I usually smoke before I go to the gym because I have great workouts. So I was hitting the ball. I left the house. So back in 2016, the Ohio lottery hit $2 billion, right? I never play the lottery. So I'm like, I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to get a little ticket just because it's $2 billion. I'm going to go to the gym. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. It's like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. Get a little workout in. So I stop at the store to walk in and grab a ticket. And I come out. I open the door to my car, and there's 3 police officers in cars with guns pointed at me. And I'm a little stoned. I just hit the bowl, and I'm just going to work out.
Oh, shit.
Put. I'm like, whoa, All of a sudden, this dude rolls up on me, puts me in handcuffs. I'm literally like a minute away from my house. So we roll back to the house. I'm in handcuffs, and my roommate and my son's mother are sitting at the kitchen table, looking bewildered. And I'm like mouthing, I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Oh man.
Like so basically what they did, the local police came up into my house because someone said that I was doing some crazy shit like growing and selling, which I wasn't growing, but it'd been about a year. I grew 2 to 5 plants, and they went through all the rooms in my houses, tore up all my shit, cut my beds open, all my furniture, clothes were torn out of every fucking drawer. They realized that they didn't have, I had 52 grams of weed on me, 52 grams, less than 2 ounces. And they ended up tearing my whole house to pieces, took all the money out of my safe. I had my safe locked. And at the time I was keeping all my cash in my safe because I didn't want there to be any money trail. So they took all that money out of my safe, like legal robbery. And never got any charges. Never got any charges, man.
And they kept the money. You didn't get it back.
For sure, yeah. So, I mean, basically, I never got any charges because I had less than 2 ounces on me and I wasn't doing anything on the grand scale. Somebody just said that I was. So it turned into that's how I have my medical card. PTSD from that situation got me my medical marijuana card.
They gave it to you. That's wild.
Yeah. So, I mean, long story short, had my house raided, no charges. They came, they tore my house up, took my money, and they left over some weed that no one was ever hurt from.
That's crazy. And they went back to the station, took a nice little picture with it, and we're all proud of themselves.
They were trying to get me to tell them where I got my weed from. They tried to say they were going to arrest me for this and for that. They gave me a week to tell them where I got my weed from, and I sent them a picture on Google Maps with an arrow pointing to an apartment building, and I never heard from them again. That was the last conversation I had with them. So
you got somebody else raided. They raided the wrong apartment based
right.
What's
crazy though is that happened in 2014, and to this day, if I see a police officer, even if I have my medical card, like I'm thinking they're coming to come into my house to look around, which is crazy. Like I can smoke legally now because I have a medical card, but I still think about it to this day. That like it's
you don't come back from that very lightly.
No,
so
even though nothing happened though, you know what I mean? Like
well, that's still got to be traumatic, and
it was very. I was in my luckily I was in my mid-20s. Luckily, my son, who was in about 4th grade at the time, he was at school during the whole fiasco, and we had some really good neighbors. He came home from school and he saw the police officers there. Actually, my roommate had a fucking seizure during this whole fiasco because he had a gun. Right, like he just had a gun in his room. As a citizen, you're allowed to have a gun, so he had a gun. They asked him where he's at. For some reason or another, he didn't want to tell them where the gun was at. They found it. They put him in handcuffs. He had a seizure. Fucking ambulance took him to the hospital. My son walked home from school around 3 o'clock that day. Granted, this all happened at 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. He came home from school, and luckily my friends across the street are very, very nice people. He was curious what was going on. He looked, but I told him that we weren't feeling good, or I forget what it was, but he went over there for the next 3 to 4 hours while we got the house back in order and we cleaned up. It was just a whole fiasco over marijuana. Like nobody was hurt. No one was murdered. Nothing happened.
That's crazy. And I can't imagine. I can't imagine. That's got to be horrible. And
work out.
Exactly. Like you're just trying to have a good day.
Yeah. No charges. You can look that up online and see that shit.
That's crazy too. All of that. And then they're just like, nah, you're good. You're good.
So my girlfriend at the time, she was sitting at the table. They came up from the basement several times. They're like, yeah, we ain't got nothing. We ain't got nothing. I'm like, I told them several times, I'm sorry you guys are wasting your time. It's hard to explain if you're not in the moment, but it was very life impacting.
Oh, definitely. I could only imagine. I would flip my fucking shit if anything like that ever happened.
Yeah, they
I would be crying.
All the money I had, bro. I had $10,000 in that fucking safe, and they just took it from me, bro.
I would be crying like a motherfucker.
And what am I supposed to say?
Yeah, exactly.
What's crazy was I was working. I had a roommate who's paying me, I think $500 a month. In a job, I was getting paid checks, basically doing like remodeling and shit like that, physical labor. But they took it. Like I couldn't, they took the money. I've never seen it.
Well, I forget what it's called, like the seizure of assets or something like that. Mm-hmm. There's no boundaries or anything.
Yeah.
If they pull you over on a traffic stop and you let them search your car and they find an envelope of $10,000, they can say, "This is suspicious. We're going to take it," and that's it. That's all. That's it. You're not going to see it again.
I have to share a link with you guys. I saw a video last night or today. This guy was traveling with $90,000, bank receipts, deposit receipts, everything. Oh, you got it right there? Oh, sorry, my bad. What would that say?
You're good, buddy. I was just trying to get something sorted out really quick.
Guy was traveling with $90,000, and the police seized his money. They called it an adoption. They took all his money, even though he had receipts for it. I'll send you guys a link though later on. Check it out. It's just crazy the things that the government can do to take people's shit.
Cool. Yeah. So something really fitting going off of your topic, Matt. We were sitting here and I was sitting in silence, listening to the great conversation. And there was a drive-by that just happened right down the street. And it was pretty intense. A little bit of adrenaline running, but as most of you know, I worked in a field where we did a bunch of training, and I worked in prisons and everything. So my first instinct was to whip out my gun and make sure my wife was okay. But I just thought it was pretty fitting to go ahead and let you guys know that did happen while you were talking about getting raided. So that's
really crazy. Don't you live in like a decent neighborhood too, though?
Man, nowhere's decent.
I mean, true, but like are drive-bys normal? Like
no, this is the first. This is the first one. This is the
first timer.
Yeah, this is first time. Sorry,
you just had your cherry popped. How was it?
It was a little premature, if I would say.
The first time is never what you expect it to be. It's okay.
You're right, and even though it didn't affect me like directly, it was my adrenaline was pumping for a few minutes.
Well, how do you feel? You're just chilling, listening to a podcast, pop, 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 and then a bunch of police sirens.
No. See, it wasn't just police sirens. It was pop, 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 and then car going 100 miles an hour down the road, and then police sirens. That's where it got me.
Do you guys have any of those really cool Billy Badass cops that shoot out of their front window during a police chase?
So to be a cop in South Carolina, it takes 8 weeks.
Are you serious?
8 weeks. You do 8 weeks at your department, and then you do 8 weeks of academy, right? No college degree required, no certification other than just the academy, where in Ohio, it takes 6 months to be a cop. Okay?
You have to do more training to get into the cannabis industry in most positions, right? Like
I had to do more training to sell insurance than it does to be a cop. But that is also why it was so easy for me to come down here and get a job, because they said, "Oh, you come from a state that requires 6 months of training? Oh yeah, we'll give you. What do you want to do? Oh, you want to be part of the SWAT team? Let's do it.
You want to be the police chief? Okay.
We don't need to vote for that. No.
Police commissioner? Okay, let's do it. You're gonna make us some good decisions.
You could become the DA, the district attorney, and then dude, you got a shoehorn into the fucking political scene.
We're President Blosser.
Yeah, go straight to the top, man. 2030, 2032. All right. Hey, man, I'll vote for you.
32, yeah. 32. I think I'll be old enough for 32.
All right.
Yeah, so cool. Let's now, talking about this does bring up a point that I do want to make off of our subject of legalization and everything of that nature. The biggest thing that deters me from becoming a regular user of marijuana getting my medical card is I carry a concealed carry, and that takes away all
taboo.
So that takes away all rights essentially. So basically, you trade the cards. Either you get your medical card or you get your concealed carry card.
How crazy is that? Crazy is that?
It's not fair.
It blows my mind. It blows my mind, man.
I mean, I'll go ahead and speak for our state of Ohio.
I was talking about Ohio. South Carolina doesn't have medical marijuana.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to say it. It doesn't matter. It does, but it doesn't.
There's no database to cross check it.
You can't get a medical card and worry about going to get your concealed carry and then pulling you up and you popping up in a database that says you already have that card and vice versa.
Correct.
Now it does apply the same way alcohol does. Like obviously you can't have your gun and your weed with you.
No.
Technically, no.
If you carry, so the way that your law states in Ohio, again, South Carolina does not have medical marijuana. We are very, very, we're of course, as always, hundreds of years in the past, we wanted
ass backwards.
So here in Ohio, well, there in Ohio, the way that it works is if you present your card, your medical marijuana card, because you maybe are just leaving dispensary or whatever the situation is, and you have marijuana in your car while traveling, they can put a note in your system, in their system, and tag it to registration and your driver's license number. That will notate it. Let's say 2 months goes by and you get pulled over again, but this time no marijuana, but you have your CCW. The classification will revoke CCW over your medical marijuana card, because medical marijuana is, of course, a prescription drug to assist some type of disability. We're not sorry, I don't want to say disability. Ailment. Right. Ailment, exactly.
Yeah.
So your CCW will get revoked. Now, the reason that they are moving to the law that was just introduced for the state of Ohio, no permit to carry a concealed weapon in the state of Ohio. The reason why that's going through right now is because of medical marijuana and the way that the system will work. So I think that it is unconstitutional to a certain extent to say, oh, because you have a medical condition, you cannot carry a concealed weapon.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on it. Like, of course you can own a weapon. You're allowed to own firearms or whatever.
Yeah.
But the Second Amendment allows you to essentially defend yourself, right? You can you have the right to bear arms, and that's going to be in the event to defend yourself or defend liberty or whatever the hell you want to say. So in that sense, if they're going to revoke your CCW because you have a medical card, how is that not unconstitutional?
Yeah, no, totally. In fact, I forgot, now that you mentioned it, about that whole no license to conceal carry, but I did read about it a couple weeks ago.
Well, I know you did because you said it on the show that I wasn't a part of.
That's funny.
And of course I listened because I am a diehard fan.
Of course. Thank you. But yeah, so it is it's definitely an interesting it's an interesting bill that I'm actually kind of surprised that Ohio's even kind of going for. Because we, for us being considered a red state, it's a pretty progressive one. We definitely have our hangups still, and I think we're probably have I know we don't have the strictest, but we do have a pretty strict medical marijuana program up here. Just a lot of loopholes and a lot of bureaucracy and just a lot of different ways they try and dig into your pockets, because it's all about money.
Oh, for sure.
Just to kind of do a quick high overview of the program, we have a tier system, which Matt actually told me yesterday at lunch that they're getting rid of. Correct, Matt?
That's what I read, man.
Yeah. All right. So here's how the tier system works and how it plays into you purchasing your medicine. Your prescription, you are given a 45-day allotment at a time. And those days translate into, quantities of whatever you're buying. So
does it go by a daily dose?
Yeah. So they don't sell eighths in Ohio. We sell tenths, 2.83 grams, which is fucking retarded. I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's fucking retarded.
I said the same thing. It's retarded.
So anyways, that
Can you imagine going to a plug and be like, "Can I get a tenth?" He's just gonna smack you. That's what it is.
It's embarrassing, bro.
It is embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. So let's say that tenth, that 2.83, falls under a tier 1 classification. A tier 1 classification is anything that's under 23% THC content. That is considered 1 day out of your 45 days of available medicine. If that tier 1 teeters into tier 2, so if it's over 23% THC total content, and now that 2.83 costs you 2 days.
Yeah.
So we are splitting hairs and saying because of a potential 1% difference in the product you're purchasing, you now have to give up an extra whole fucking day of your allotted medicine available to you at any given time.
And if you're buying ounces at a time, your 45-day allotment is going to go really fast.
14 days on a tier 2, actually.
Yeah.
Well, this seems to me like one of those things, especially where the laws are being written by people who have no idea
Absolutely.
about practical use or how they.
Yeah.
The business and the laws are being run by people who don't know what the fuck is going on, bro.
We already have these fucking major corporation pot farms, and it's not even federally legal yet. It's like, save some room for the little guy, dude. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, you have companies out there like Cresco Labs. They are corporate cannabis who believe in the traditional capitalistic ways. They gobble up little companies to, ultimately make theirs bigger. And they come to the table with blank checks. And those little companies aren't going to say no to blank checks.
I can't remember if it was California or Colorado, but in the beginning they limited you to like, let's say the numbers are wrong. Let's say if you get 1 acre, like that's like they limit you at a 1 acre farm to avoid the big companies coming and buying all the land up. So these big companies were just buying 100 1 acre plots side by side to get around it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now I have a question. While we're here. Now I know the THC is an important part of the feeling high, but is that's not it, right? The terpenes affect that.
Yes.
Also.
So anyone who actually knows at least a little bit of what they're talking about, a connoisseur even, knows that THC is just a number. Your terpenes are completely different cannabinoids that enhance the effects that you're going to feel from whatever that THC content is. Those terpenes can come, a lot of people hear terpenes and they think, oh, it's just smell and flavor, right? But it's not. It has everything to do with smell and flavor, but it also has to do with effects. Like myrcene, for example, is a terpene that naturally occurs in mangoes. If you smoke a myrcene indica dominant strain and eat a mango after smoking that, you're going to actually have a more sedative effect. Right there, terpenes. There you go. Thank you, Matt. So you got myrcene, limonene, calyphylamine, pinene. So these are all different terpenes with all different flavor profiles. Your pinene, and a lot of them match whatever they're saying. So pinene, piney, or slight earth, limonene, citrus, lemony. That's where you get like your super lemon hazes from a lot. Myrcene is in a lot of purple strains, a lot of indicas, a lot of sedative stuff. So those are just a few. There's hundreds. There's probably some we don't even know about.
And you find these terpenes in your common foods and herbs, bro, like thyme, oregano, and shit. They have terpenes too, bro. Like the same effects that we're getting out of the cannabis plant are coming in these fucking these other I don't want to say natural herbs and plants because they're all under the same umbrella. They're all natural herbs and plants.
So. See, I was shocked when I found out that we produce cannabinoids in our body. That's a natural.
So you actually, every person on this planet who is a human being, so Mark Zuckerberg is off the table.
But Mitch McConnell may not be.
Yeah, Mitch McConnell's a grim fucking reaper. He's not even human or a lizard. He is a fucking specter. But besides that, we all have what are known as Cb1 and Cb2 receptors.
Receptors in the brain, bro.
Those one set of those receptors actually, just like Matt said, are in your brain, and the other set are spread out throughout your body. And depending on where the cannabinoids attach, and that's also depending on your terpenes and your indicas and sativas. Sativas are going to go to your number 2s, your arms, your legs, your body highs. Your head highs, your couch lockers, they're going to go to your CB1s in your brain. But those receptors are all there, ready to have that shit plugged in because evolution has demanded they be there. Because we've been consuming this plant for thousands of fucking years.
Thousands of years, bro.
So, and you have a lot of really like indigenous strains, land race strains, if you will, that grow just naturally in the wild. Those are typically referred to as like a rudialis, which is a non-THC producing, plant, but is part of the cannabis family.
I'm sorry, this is way off track. I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
When I heard terpenes the first time, I assumed that was an additive, like a pesticide. Like it does not obviously I'm wrong, but you saying growing in the wild, I have a friend, and him and his dad are, they grow and he sells and all this man, just dirt is what he has, right? Yeah. Seeds and stems. And that man takes all of his seeds for the 6 months up until hunting season and collects them in a giant ass mason jar. Mm-hmm. And then when he goes out hunting, he just plants them everywhere, literally everywhere in the public land that he hunts on. And then he comes back and checks on him and stuff. And he's sometimes he's like, the feds come and they get about 70% of them, but there's always some left for me. So that to me is wild because we're hunting on train tracks on public land, and he's just tossing handfuls of seeds. And other times he meticulously will plant them in the ground, he'll push it in and cover it up. And it is just it's hilarious. It is just ridiculous.
That's awesome.
No one does it. No one does it better than Mother Nature, man. Indoor strains are very easily manipulated. Obviously, that's the point of growing inside, is to increase growth speed and yield, and having complete control over genetics and things of that nature. But there's a lot to be said for when it just happens organically in the world. So that's a beautiful part of the whole system.
Yes.
Also, I think it's crazy. Everybody smokes weed now. Literally, everybody has or does.
I was going to say, you were talking about that 70% number earlier. I was like, I'm willing to bet more than that has actually tried, weed at least once. Whether or not they fall under the, for or against crowd is kind of irrelevant, because over 90% say it should at least be legal. And of that 90%, I'd be willing to say some of them probably don't smoke just because they didn't enjoy it or have a good experience with it. So to that extent, yes, pretty much everyone smokes weed now or consumes it in one way or another.
In my research, I found a video that I love. It's by, I want to say Watch Cut is their YouTube channel, but they did this. They do a lot of cool videos, but this one was Grandpa's Try Weed Again. And it was 3 dudes who haven't smoked weed since they were young, in the 70s. And it was fucking hilarious. Because there was one who took 2 hits and was already too high. And was tapped out. And then this other dude was just taking dab rips. This old 70-year-old man was just taking dab rips to the face after dab rip to the face. And he was fucking vibing. He was having a great time. And it can be for everybody. I mean, it's not for everybody, but all kinds of people can enjoy the product, you know?
For me,
oh, go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
I was going to say, for me, I teeter the scale of I'm vibing or I'm just too violently high where I cannot control myself.
If I'm not vibing, I'm dying. That's what it is.
And it is the most scariest experience I've ever had in my life. I'm talking, I've done, everybody says edibles are different, and I completely agree. I completely understand. But I have eaten 100 milligram edible, which is just this little gummy thing. I was like, oh, this is like candy. It's smaller than a gummy bear. It's fine. It will be fine. And my wife all she said was I just kept begging for it to stop because
it's not fine.
And this is smoking, right?
No, this was an edible.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Sorry.
Because I couldn't control myself. Everything
the edibles will get you. The edibles will get you, bro.
It was really, really unpleasant, and it kind of terrifies me to try weed again. Like the edibles, I don't think I will ever touch one of those again because it really, everything was spinning. I couldn't control my body. I just wanted, and I'm a control freak. So, and that really showed when going through this experience. I have to be in control, and I did not have control of what I was doing, what I was saying, what I felt, and I couldn't handle it.
I feel like
extremely strong.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like getting too high is almost like a rite of passage that everyone goes through. Everyone has a moment like that where they're like, I'm literally going to die. This is it for me. I did this to myself. But I think it definitely helps to just like, once you make it through that moment, then you're like, oh, I'm going to be fine. And you just got to tell yourself you're going to be okay.
That's a great point. You have to say that to yourself. You have to know.
It's going to end. Yeah.
This isn't permanent.
I've definitely been there, but when I took 400 milligrams of edibles one time.
Yeah.
And
you got sick too.
I was already sick. I had a cold.
Yeah,
I was feeling like shit.
You got really sick.
Well,
though.
I wasn't like, I was so uncomfortably high, but I wasn't like anxious or like freaking out or anything. It was like, I just physically could not do anything. I couldn't play games. I couldn't scroll through my phone. I just could not work. And I was like,
comatose.
I'm going to just hang out on the couch in the dark for a little while.
Real quick for you, Josh, if I were ever to be the individual to kind of convince you to ease back in to consumption, and that's of course a decision you have to make, but if you were ever going to, a big suggestion I would make to you is actually combining hemp with your
That's a great idea, man.
with your just normal weed. That will counteract a lot of the blunt force rage that the THC will try and have on your brain, and it will kind of even it out. So we call that a 1-to-1 experience, kind of. You have a 1-to-1 of CBD to THC, and it creates just a very much more pleasant, manageable, mellow experience that isn't all about just getting as high as possible, but just experiencing the effects of what you're doing and enjoying it. You're not too high, you're not too low, you're just on this level plane of just right where you want to be.
1-to-1 is amazing.
So for the situation that I have come to realize is, for some reason, not some reason, I must be an uptight person. I have to be pretty tightly wound. And the reason being is because when I have smoked marijuana, it makes me try to process all of my feelings that I repress.
That's so good, though.
Yes.
It is so therapeutic.
And
it makes you work through your shit.
I'm not And
it brings it to the forefront. It'll bring it right in front of your face, bro.
And that's not what I want to do. So
he's not looking for self-diagnosed therapy.
No, that's a great way to explain it, though. That's a great way to explain it.
Yeah, I just sat there and cried, and I'm not about that. I'm not about that. What? No thanks. I'll pass.
See, I'm the other end. I love that shit. Me too. That's where I'm at. Through it. Like
that's where I'm at, bro. It opens my eyes to things that I should be doing differently, maybe wrong, right, or indifferent. It opens my eyes to look at it and to like kind of go over it and what can I do better.
Oh, it almost helps you get like an outside perspective almost, because you're not stuck looking through your own inhibitions and your own filters you put over your life. You kind of look at it as like a grand scheme of things, and it can help you kind of see like where you're the problem. You know what I mean? Because you look at yourself and you're like, oh, I don't really like that like at all.
See, y'all are making me want to try again, but the problem is
yes.
My mom died.
You have to be open to it, man. If you're not open to it, you're gonna have a bad experience.
Exactly.
I know, but there's just so much trauma and
you almost
terrible stuff that
you have
happens.
to set yourself up for a good time. Comfortable environment.
It's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. The mind, comfortable setting. Absolutely, 100%.
See, I just don't know. I don't know if I'm in a position to, and see, I worry as well. Like, I always want to make sure that everybody around me is okay. So I feel like anytime
we will exasperate that for sure.
So, and I feel like I need to just experience by completely alone, like completely by myself, to work through anything that is open, because there's just too many thoughts and emotions that are processing that make me, process all this trauma and stuff that happened. But then I'm also constantly worried about the people around me.
Of course.
I think there's a time and place for that, definitely, to kind of set almost lock yourself in a room and sort through your shit. But it's also good to have, somebody there to help ground you.
Absolutely.
And
both
bounce
ways.
your stuff off. Yeah.
Both ways, for sure.
It's definitely, it can do so much wonder for people. And it's so, I guess, like I said, it's so important, like you said, the scene and setting or whatever, site and setting. Because, if you go in, knowing, like, I'm going to work through some stuff or I want to think about some stuff, then you're not, like, hit in the face with this brick wall of emotion. You know what I mean?
Yes. I think for me, I kind of my consumption dropped quite a bit after I turned 25. I don't know what it was about that number or that age.
It's because your insurance rates got lower.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like you hear that a lot, though.
They say they dropped, but I didn't see much. But anywho, I basically used to be the kind of guy in my 20s, early 20s, where I would come home from work and I would pack 5 to 6 bongs of literally some of the best, quality street.
I imagine you're packing 5 different bongs. You're not packing 5 bowls. You have 5 bongs laid out on the table in front of you, and you're packing all 5 of them.
Just one bowl, one slide for one bong.
But you broke up enough for 5.
For 5 to 6, yeah.
Okay. So it's on deck. I got you.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, I was, filling that fucker, getting probably a good 4 to 7 hits, just depending on how big of hits I was taking. And I was smoking all of those bowls every day, and just not ever achieving where I wanted to be, because I had literally gotten my tolerance so high that I couldn't really enjoy it anymore. It just felt like I was inhaling a bunch of smoke, and then I'd feel like a little euphoric for a minute, and then it just tapered off. That's a really bad place to be when you enjoy consuming the plant.
Well, at that point, not to talk too much, there's almost some sort of underlying, I don't want to say dependency there, but when you get to that point, when you're smoking that much, you've been smoking that much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's almost like, I don't know how to
It's like
it's not.
steroids.
Well, yeah, it's not like you like need it, but like that's where you're at. You know what I mean? Like it's not like you're good.
Yeah, you basically just get to a point where you just don't feel it anymore because it's just become a routine thing.
Well, more maintenance and less of an enjoyable experience. More just trying to maintain yourself.
Yeah, trying to maintain, what you're used to, which back then was very not cost efficient at all to do. But as I said, I turned 25 and then started getting really paranoid because I think I just had a coming of age moment and realized, I'm getting married. Well, I was married at that point, but I'm like, man, I'm married. I'm halfway, through my 20s. I'm going to be 30 in 5 years. And you start thinking about like having a family and, finding a job that's going to, get you to where you at least need to be to have that family. And like stuff like that was like a lot of shit that I had to work through. Because when I was smoking, those types of things were creeping into my head and making me feel like I had no control over my life and I was inferior, and just gave me terrible panic attacks. So I had to lay off of it for a while. And then I'd say by the time I was about 27, I started picking it up again and became a much more casual user. And to this day, I'm very, I very casually throughout the week consume just when I feel like I need to. And that has honestly been life changing for me because now I don't have that huge tolerance and I can actually enjoy it when I do decide to use it.
That's pretty good.
My bad.
That's pretty good advice.
Your little tidbit there kind of it reminded me of like there's this interesting, I think, like something to be looked at where you can kind of Pavlov yourself with your marijuana use, where like I don't want to sound all spiritual and less psychedelic, where like you have to set your intent, but like you kind of do. Like if you're someone who like just smokes and plays games, like that's what you do. Every time you smoke, you're gonna want to play games. If you're someone who just smokes to like hang out and chill out, then it's gonna be harder for you to smoke and like do something active or be productive.
Yeah.
So I think if you kind of set yourself up there with how you like I said, your intent, but it's not really the same kind of psychedelic intent where it's like you can like help or hinder yourself with how you use.
Yeah, I mean it totally makes sense. Setting, like we discussed earlier, setting your intent, why am I sitting down and getting high tonight? Is it because I just want to let go and forget about shit and relax? Do I just want to get high because I enjoy it? Am I in pain? Am I trying to mitigate some sort of feeling that I'm having in my body? Am I trying to mitigate some sort of feeling I'm having in my brain? There's a lot of different reasons why you could sit down and have the intention of using it that evening.
Yes.
I totally agree with that.
Now, have you guys seen this sort of spiritual take towards marijuana? I see on TikTok a lot.
Oh yeah.
I see a lot of people, they say it almost like it comes into your life, and this is, for people who not, recreational necessarily. It comes into your life when you need it, and then a lot of people get to a point where they don't need it anymore. Like it helped them work through whatever they're working through or whatever, and they just kind of lose the drive. They lose, you know what I mean? They don't want to do it anymore. So it kind of, for a lot of people, it has a natural progression of kind of like using it when you need it, and then when you no longer need it for whatever reason it is, whether it's spiritual or physical or mental, you just don't use it anymore. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of fades away. And I think that's a really interesting kind of take on it.
Once again, probably for that 2-year stint that I went on in my mid-20s, I was probably kind of in that position where I was waking up every day in a pretty decent mood. at the time, I did not hate the job that I was in. And, things were going good. And there were some days where it was just like, I don't need that. I don't, but there are days where I was like, but I want that,
That's a really good example of that, though, where you had it for a point where you were probably using it to get through some stuff.
Yeah,
just talking
definitely.
about the amount you were using, and you
Mhm.
had this kind of coming of age moment, and then you were able to separate yourself from it, work on your problems, and now you're back, and it's strictly recreational, casual. No, it's not like a crutch or anything for you.
Right, exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have my medical card. I use it medicinally here in the great state of Ohio. But I think every patient, whether they're getting it for pain or if they're terminally ill or have PTSD, whatever it may be, I think to a certain degree, it would be kind of naive to think that none of them buy it for the fact that it has a recreational purpose
Oh,
in
of
their
course.
life.
I think
Um,
I think they're kind of separate though. Like I think like you need it in a bigger grand scheme kind of way.
So,
And
yeah.
then
so
also
for
you
me,
need it on your day-to-day anxiety is like a different need. You know
Go
what I
ahead,
mean?
Matt.
it's interesting for me because I feel like with weed, every single day is different for me. When you think about prescription drugs, right? You wake up in the morning, you take your first dose. A couple hours later, you take your next dose. A couple hours later, you take your next dose. It's a very scheduled succession of events. When I smoke weed, there's some days I don't smoke until 9 p.m. There's some days I'll smoke at 9 a.m. There's a day I'll smoke at 12:30 p.m. It's not like I wake up and like the first thing I think about is weed. It's never been that. Maybe when I was younger, but I've never felt like that. Like my whole day can take place and I'm like, all right, it's 9 p.m. I'm about to blaze, or it could be at 3. Like every single day is different. Like I don't wake up needing that prescription to get me to the next hour. You know what I mean? Like it's never it's that's just me.
No,
I agree.
that's a really good way of putting it, Matt. Because I'm in a lot of the same ways on doing the same thing. I except mine really even comes down to there are weeks where I don't smoke.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that
and
exactly.
you
Exactly.
know,
And not to put it in one day's perspective, but it could
yeah,
be days or weeks or months or years. Like,
yeah,
and then one day you might smoke it again. And like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's no
totally.
set schedule.
No,
Can we
I
all go
yeah,
ahead?
go.
No, I
No,
don't want to cut you off. Okay.
no, you're fine.
Okay. It's a slight change of gear. Can we all confirm that like did this happen for you where you were introduced and it was kind of cool, and then there was like a period of like where you were in it. Like you kind of start slow, and then I feel like everyone hits it hard. Like everyone really like
Yeah.
does, I don't know, the run. You're
Hmm.
smoking out every day, you're smoking all the time, whatever it
Yep.
is.
Yeah.
And then
That
you kind of
was.
peak, you peak right there, and then
Yep.
you kind of find your recreational, whatever daily you want to call kind of use.
Yeah. That
Not
was
for me.
my that was my 21 to like 23 to even 24-year-old phase where I started smoking. Like I tried it when I was 17. I got green sick my first time, unfortunately. I did not try it again until I was 21 because I throwing up when something makes me throw up, it makes me really adverse to it. And I think that,
Yeah. You
that's
didn't
pretty
want to
normal.
re-experience that same
Yeah. You
circumstance.
know, which is unfortunate because I spent the next several years until I was 21 just afraid to try it again because I thought it was going to make me sick. But I digress in saying that my wife is the one who actually reintroduced me in a very meaningful, safe surrounding. We set ourselves up for success that night. We had a house to ourselves. We were able to, order some Papa John's pizza.
Mm,
We had fun.
delicious.
We had funny movies on deck.
That's a vibe.
So yeah, we set we set our intentions. We're like,
So
we
she's the
are gonna.
bad influence.
Yes, she is. She's like, you know what? We're gonna have munchies. We're gonna have good food in front of us. We're gonna have funny movies on. We're setting our intentions. We are going to, just smoke this to
Hmm.
experience it and to enjoy it and to just have a good time and vibe. So that was like my reintroduction into it. And then from there, like the sky was the limit. I wanted it all the time. I wanted to know everything about it. I wanted to know everything about it. I wanted to try every strain I could get my hands on. I was willing to spend any amount of money it took to try something new or do something cool with it. I bought that stupid magic butter machine when it was like brand new, which is a complete and total waste of your product. Never buy a magic butter machine. Just get a crock pot, folks. That's all you need. So in that regard, but yeah, I definitely hit it hard in my early 20s after having that much better second round first experience.
I love the ingenuity people have when you say that you would spend any amount of money to try something new. I've seen some ridiculous shit. My favorite one was a human-sized gravity bong in a hot tub.
Mm-hmm.
So they turned one of the water jugs into it, and like the big water cooler jugs. Yeah. And you go under the water, come up inside it, and then they draw it up as you come up, and you're just trapped in there. I saw another one where they rigged up a fucking snorkel mask so it would just intake, outtake, and the same kind of thing. Someone was just laying underwater in a hot tub with smoke feeding in and smoke feeding out.
It's pretty crazy.
There's such a difference between, so like for me, just speaking off record,
of course,
I tried it subject to peer pressure my very first time, and my close friends decided that, you know what, I'm never going to do that, and now they smoke pretty much every day. So I was
like dare anti weed in high school. I remember being 18 and being pissed off at a girlfriend I had. I was like, "You smoke weed? I can't fucking believe you would do that." How funny! Look where we end up. Huh?
So that is so funny to me that happened. But I always find myself doing it socially. I do everything I do, I feel socially. When I'm by myself, I am pretty just like content being alone. Like, I don't know why that is, but I am content just being alone. If I'm by myself, I can pretty much just sit here and chill.
It's because you block out all your bad thoughts.
Yeah, you're right. You're so right.
You don't deal with them.
But see, and then even in a setting like this where I just see you guys, right? So I'm seeing your three lovely faces right now, and I will socially engage in whatever. So like vaping or smoking cigars or, having a drink of alcohol or, whatever the situation is, i.e. smoking weed. So everything I do is in a social manner. Yeah. And it's just like, people who say, oh, I only smoke socially. Okay, well, I do everything in my life socially. Otherwise, when I'm by myself, I'm just chill.
You're just socially motivated is really what it comes down to.
I think that's what it is. I haven't found anything that's, I don't want to say it's not worth my personal indulgence. I mean, something as simple as just playing video games, I do that socially.
Yeah.
I spend all this money on a gaming computer, on Xbox, on these games, and I only play them with other people.
Right.
Why that is, I don't know. I honestly wish I could.
What do you do when you're alone? Do you just stop existing? Do you literally just like sit like a robot charging somewhere? Is that?
I wish I knew, because like now that I said that, I can't tell you.
It sounds like you sit alone and dissociate in your free time.
I could, but see, I'm a workaholic, so that I really think that picks up a. I mean, I literally will just sit in here and work until 10 o'clock at night some nights. I don't know why.
I don't know if I should love that for you, but if you're happy, I'm happy.
You're just built different.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
It's just I wish I could identify and correct these actions. I want to enjoy the things that I enjoy with my friends by myself too. But it's just not as fun. It's not as enjoyable for me.
Well, I mean, you got to think about it. It's a different experience because you're with yourself and you're with different people. So it's a different social aspect. It's impossible to enjoy the same things you do with a group of people than you do with yourself because you're alone versus, I mean, simply put, with a group of people. So
yeah,
I mean,
it's my wife was really, really big into last year. What do they call it? Languages of love or love language or whatever it is. I like identifying your love language. And every single test that she made me take over and over and over again was always quality time. So like my love language is quality time. And I feel like that holds very true in the retro sense of spending time with people around me. I love this. Getting to this point tonight was tough for me. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna do it. I don't want to do this right now. But once it starts, I'm always there for it. So, and I feel like that's also another reason why I give into peer pressure so quickly. It's because I'm socially motivated to go outside my comfort zone.
Not to get too personal with you, but I think you you have a lot of internal walls put up, so that's why it's hard to look in and figure out why you enjoy what you do and why you don't enjoy what you don't enjoy and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I just want to know how do I be normal? Am I just going to like sit here forever and like do nothing when I'm by myself?
Do the uncomfortable stuff and kind of work through your shit. That's
that's a hard
maybe
pass.
Take up weed and let it take you on that journey to find that out, man. You have receptors in your brain for cannabinoids, so
Matt, you're telling me to sit here and cry. That's what you're saying right now.
No, it's not fun. It's not. It's uncomfortable to work through your trauma and all that, but it's freeing. You feel better on the other side of it.
There's like you talk about crying. There's times I'll smoke weed and I'll listen to a song and I'll cry, like because I'm feeling what the message is. I'm feeling the vibe. Yeah. So it's okay. It's okay to listen to what you're feeling and to try to understand it. That's the biggest thing. Like, okay, now I see why.
When you cry, you're literally draining the chemicals that make you sad out of your body. Like your tears carry those sad chemicals out of your body to make room for more dopamine and serotonin.
That chemical is called salt, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. That's what makes my body feel sad.
I have noticed.
Drink water.
Tyler can attest to this. I was pretty much a hard ass growing up. Nothing really made me, sad, or I pretty much dealt with everything. But once I graduated high school, I started noticing that I will get teary-eyed in like wholesome situations, or like
That's
I will
normal.
Start crying when certain music comes up, or I watch a wholesome video or anything like that. I used to never do that.
Soldiers coming home as a surprise, and dogs seeing their owners for the first time in a long time. Waterworks, tears right away.
And what gets me every time? Anything with kids. Ever since I became a dad, bro, anything with kids, man.
TikTok makes me sad all the time with that shit.
Oh, dude, I can't do it sometimes when people are like posting about children they've lost and shit. I can't do it. I just leave.
I think the older you get, you start to get outside of that individual bubble to where you're thinking about what's good and what's bad for me. And you start to see the world around you and other people's thoughts and feelings, especially if you have kids. Because you have kids, that's your seed. You know what I'm saying? So part of getting older and expanding and growing is realizing that we're all in this fucking rat race at the same time, like experiencing everything at the same time. We all think, feel, and see things differently than each other person. So I mean, the world is different to everybody, man. It's unique to every person.
Definitely.
I talk about that a lot, how we view the world through our own anecdotal experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely agree that as you get older, you get kind of like a larger worldview. Like, I don't like a very personal, like anecdotal level. You ever look at your fucking Facebook memories? Like, I'll look at stuff from 5 years ago and I'll be like, I cannot believe I used to think like that. Like, not to like dive too much into it, but like, socially, I've changed so much in the last 5 years,
bro.
Like, it's crazy. It's crazy, like how just a little bit of time can change how you perceive the world.
It's so funny you said that. Just yesterday, my wife and I were talking about how we don't really jump on social media much these days. But if you look at our memories 5-10 years ago, why the fuck was I posting these pictures or these statuses? It's like, wow, like things do change. It's like you think differently. It's crazy, man.
I've looked at old stuff that I've said and posted before, and I'm just like, you're a fucking idiot.
It makes the best cringe content.
Absolutely. It really does. Looking at your old self, and that's literally been snapshot forever in some fucking server
Mark
somewhere.
Zuckerberg's room, bro.
Yeah, and you just look back on it, and you just like you immediately want to initiate a Comedy Central roast on yourself.
Look at this fucking guy and his dumb opinions.
Right. Speaking of all of that good shit, though, you guys were off recording. We're talking about VR for a little bit, and that you just like got introduced into that, Matt, like not too long ago.
Yeah. The metaverse, bro.
Take us on your journey, Matt. Take us on your journey.
I've been having a good time, man. It puts you in a different world, especially if you on the subject of marijuana. I'll do a dab and jump on the VR, and I just fucking like kind of transport to this different plane. So there's workout games. I'll be breaking out in sweat. There's rhythm games like Beat Saber, and there's fucking a virtual poker game. I'm at a table in front of you. You're picking up your cards. It's without really trying it. You gotta just try it out for yourself, man. But I've interacted with people in this metaverse about the metaverse, and it's we're like at the 56K of the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like the very forefront of the public internet. So
we've entered.
Out, it's just expanding here.
Definitely, we just entered Web 3.0, is what they're saying. So it's like a whole new frontier out there now.
Yeah, it's wild. It's insane. Like I'll have a good hand in poker, and I'll reach my hand out, and I'll feel the vibration of another human being on my hand. There'll be a vibration and an action that takes place. Like it's insane.
It is pretty insane as far as VR goes, and I've been introduced slightly to it, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, and you lose track of time, and it's a whole different escape from reality. You know, people can get tunnel vision when it comes to like playing games. I can sit here and, you know, if I'm actually enjoying what I'm doing and I'm having a good time, I can play games for 6, 8, 10 hours straight and not even notice. Right. But the VR, I can lose time completely. Like I can literally just live in there. The only thing that really stops me is when the battery dies.
Yeah. Right.
You know.
Have you guys seen the haptic feedback vests they have, where you can put a vest on and then you'll?
Yes, I've seen those.
Yes,
it looks wild.
So literally, all of this conversation draws my brain into literally one little movie, and that's called Ready Player One.
I've talked about it on the. Yeah. There's a game called Horizon. Fuck, what's the name of that shit?
Zero Dawn.
Venues. It's just called Horizon Venues. So you're dropped into this room that's like a lobby, and you can watch basketball games, you can watch UFC fighting, UFC matches, music concerts, and you'll drop into the fucking the lobby, and people just be talking about the metaverse, and it's here, man. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, no, it's literally like our real world version of like a like kind of like I'm going to call it a Walmart version of the Oasis that they predict in the movie.
Yeah. But Ready Player One, my point was going back to that because I forgot. Ready Player One was been brought up into that conversation, like the same comparison. Ready Player One,
yes,
was the main topic of like. Speaking of that, though, we could like the four of us could download an app if we all had their headsets on right now and jump into a room and just see each other's movements and just it'd be like that's how work's going to be here in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, man.
For sure. And with that being said, of course, I think it's going to be crazy to see how VR is actually going to grasp the everyday person. Like right now, we're using it. It's really common with gamers. There's no real practical use to it right this second, but I feel that that's going to change a lot. And the reason being is with the pandemic, we realized that a lot of people can start doing their jobs from the comfort of their own space.
Absolutely.
But with that being said, there are some people who don't respond the same way to working professionally in a not professional space. You know what I mean? Right. So that exactly that office work. So when it comes to VR, something that is, of course, just grasping straws at this moment, it would be awesome to see a inter-office like set or site set up where basically everybody just logs in, you put your VR headset on, and you can interact with people, hold genuine actual conversations, and just you'd be in the office space. You'd have other people around you. So like for me, I run an insurance agency, so the only way that I can talk to my team, so the people who will help me run my agency, is by conversing with them via email or over text or Zoom calls like we're on now. This is okay, but this doesn't get the same engagement that I feel that I give my VR reality, right? So like the virtual reality makes me actually engage into a completely the next level essentially. So I really do think that we might start seeing VR once it gets to where it should be.
Yeah,
I think we'll
absolutely.
Where I was going with that is NFTs are really big right now too. These are still. God. I know you hate it, Nick, but these are still new. However, NFTs have been around for a while. They're new to mainstream, I would say. Yeah. And once they start getting up there, cryptocurrency, NFTs, and VR are all going to tie themselves into one big fucking fuck metaverse. Some. Okay, I'm not saying the word, but just a big old fuck ton of jumbled bullshit. And we are going to start seeing a lot of things change as far as the consumer portion of pretty much everything, I believe.
I think so too.
It'll definitely be interesting to watch how it develops over the next 5 years.
It'll be fun. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be something to keep our eyes on. I think you're going to see an uptick in people buying VR headsets and using them for these practical reasons that you're already discussing. Because that's what Mark Zuckerberg wants right now with this metaverse. He wants people to stay at home. He wants them to wear VR. He wants them to use his gear, his equipment, his software. He wants them to go into virtual offices. He wants them to be able to interact with their coworkers in a virtual space from the comfort of their home. That is where the future wants us to go right now.
For sure.
That's probably what's going to end up happening inevitably.
For sure. And with that, there are so many accessories that come with VR that allow you to still be active. So a lot of people are like, oh, we're just going to sit at home, get fat, lazy, and our health is going to deteriorate. Because working from home for me, I have noticed that, if it is available, I'm going to eat it, right? So snacks are the best thing for me. So I have to lock myself in my office. And what's helped me with that, with working from home recently, is actually having a complete separate space. I can't be around anything because it doesn't inspire me to do my job. And it's really tough because if I don't do my job, I don't make money. That's really where it comes down to. I don't make an hourly rate. I have to do my job to get paid. So yeah, that's where I was going with the, in the office. It allows you to be a little more productive, I would say.
Yeah, and for sure.
I think that it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, definitely. definitely be interesting to see. So Matt, as I was talking to you yesterday, usually we on the show, as part of our little kind of wrap up process, we usually do Am I the Asshole segment, or we'll even do a trivia. So I think we probably would have time for one of those tonight. Is there one that sounds more appealing to you that you would want to partake with us?
I'm a newbie, man, so I want to pass off to somebody.
Do you guys want my trivia tonight, and then you can decide if you want to roll with it or do the Am I the Asshole instead?
What's your trivia?
It's been a while, I feel like, since I've had trivia. So Josh and Nick normally do like questions and answers. I do more scenarios, and you guys have to make me laugh.
Trivia for
Cards Against Humanity rules. But this one actually works out really well. It's going to sound like I just thought of it, but I didn't. So the fact that we talked about VR at the end there works really well. So you have 3 things you're going to give me, and then I'm going to grade you. You're given the opportunity to have a plot of land in the metaverse for free, right? For complete free. So I need you to know, what are you going to put there? What are your 3 big rules about it? You know, like, I don't know, your like 10 commandments, if you will, but only 3 of them for your square of the metaverse. And how do you monetize it? Do you charge people for their time to be there, or do you like sell things in your plot of land?
Entry fee.
Yeah, stuff like that. And of course, I'll go first and give you my bullshit, not graded answer, so you guys can have a little bit of time to think about your answers and all that. Or I have 2 Am I the Assholes ready and rare to go.
I'm down for both of you. I'm the guest here, so I kind of want to just jump into both if y'all have the time. If you guys don't have the time, I'm fine, but it's up to you guys.
But we always got the time.
We're good.
Okay. We've got the time, man.
No, there's no rush for me. I don't want to like make you guys think that I have to be out at like in 2 minutes or whatever. So let's just do both. Let's do both. Yeah.
All right. Well, Tyler, run the Am I the Asshole first. That'll give us all time to kind of contemplate what you just proposed.
Yeah.
So
okay. I want to preface by saying I did not read these because I found these while we were recording. So
organic.
It's organic. The first one's pretty short. It says, "Am I the asshole for refusing to babysit our daughter? I, 29 male, bought my wife, 25 female, 2 tickets to visit her grandma in Italy next week. The other ticket was for our daughter, 4 female, since I assumed she'd be taking her. She said she wants a break from kids on her vacation. I told her that was unfortunate since there's no way that our daughter cannot go if she goes, because I have to work and don't want to take time off to babysit our daughter for an entire week. I suggested we have someone else watch her, but we don't know anyone that lives close by who'd be willing to watch her. I love my daughter, but I don't want to take a week off to babysit her. Additional information, I bought the tickets for her birthday. My wife's a stay-at-home mom."
Well, I'm just going to go first because I immediately have an answer here.
I know you do.
So I cannot stand it when parents refer to taking care of their children,
as watching,
aka parenting them, as babysitting. That just kind of strikes a nerve with me.
No, you're parenting, homie. That's what.
Yeah,
you're raising your kids.
You're not babysitting, bro. You're taking care of your children. So in that regard, yeah, he is an asshole for that alone. Secondly, if your wife is a stay-at-home mom, you should be willing and quite able to figure out a way to take that time off for her. Second reason,
I have a hot take for that one.
So,
I think, especially us. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. That's just where I'm at. I'm getting all asshole vibes from him personally. It was nice of him to get the plane tickets, but the ultimatum is kind of fucked up. So
I'm with you, bro.
I gotta agree. I feel like I have a bit of a weird spot for the whole stay-at-home mom thing. It's like a lot of guys, especially younger guys, I think that like I work, I get time off when I go home. I'm off work, I want to relax. And I get that, but I think we don't think about the other side of it where like she's working all day. She's watching the kid all day. like it's just unfortunate that like your break is all like she needs a break too. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate that both your guys' days end at the same time, you know. But like just like you need to decompress from being at work, she needs to decompress from parenting all day. You know what I mean? It's not easy. Anybody who's spent any amount of time alone with a toddler knows it's not it's not like just hanging out and let me put on this TV and here you go, I'm gonna do whatever I want.
Right.
Yeah. To extrapolate on that, I'm with you guys both. I'm 100% in agreement. But you, even on top of that, though, besides our own personal wants and needs, you have to think about these toddlers too. Like these are their lives as well. These are their memories forming. These are their lives playing out in front of them, just like our lives are playing out. These kids' lives are too. So I'm just like, damn. You know, with two very young kids, a 3-year-old and a 9-month-old, and a 15-year-old and a 14-year-old. It's just like, damn, we get frustrated sometimes, but you have to also think that they don't know how to control it as we do. So, I don't know. You got to take all parties into consideration.
Definitely.
People like to not think that kids are people. Like,
God.
That sounds
Yes.
bad, but we don't treat children as people. We treat them as like almost like a pet. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. And that's what I've learned even here recently.
Who's a good boy?
Yeah, seriously, man. Like my wife and I just talked about this shit, bro. Like when the kids chill, the kids calm down, you want to sit back and relax and take some me time, but there's always something to do. There's always something to clean up, to fix, to prepare, or something in order. And when oh my God, that's a whole nother subject. We won't really get into that.
I say that's hard.
So,
but like, I mean, just one more thing. I'm sorry, Josh. My daughter's 2, and it fucking blows my mind the things she can comprehend and understand.
Yeah.
It is like I was under the impression that you'd be basically brain dead until you were like 5. And it's like you literally speak. We have a conversation. What is going on? How do you know these things?
Absolutely. It's amazing.
That is so funny. So I just want to point out, you know, the number one issue here. When you plan a trip for your stay-at-home wife, you typically plan that trip for you and the family. Like, so you're going to Italy, you paid for the trip for your wife to go see her grandmother in Italy. That's not typically a trip that you don't include yourself on.
Yeah, that sounds like more of a vacation for him, sending his wife away.
Exactly. So I want to point that out because I would never go into a position where I would pay for my wife to go somewhere else without me with our kids. You know what I mean? Because like
it's a little sus, right?
Right.
Very.
It's like he's trying to get her out of the house for a week
and take the kid.
And take the kid.
You know, why don't you two fuck off to your grandma's in Italy?
Exactly.
I'm gonna stay home and bang some hooker and get drunk every night.
Exactly. So that was the first red flag for me. 100% the asshole. Second red flag is, as you guys all said, it's your job. Like, I don't want to say it's your job. It's not your job. It is your duty to be a parent. You created this child. You have to take care of it.
So the kids count on you. Whether you do it or not is up to you. Some do, some don't. I do. My friends do. You know what I'm saying? But it's your duty. People think that having a kid is like, damn. I'm thinking how to put this.
Slave labor.
Yeah, it's slave labor. But you
my parents were slave labor.
Yeah, I mean, all you can do is guide them. You know what I'm saying? However you choose to guide them is your choice, but that's all you can do as a parent. If you're in their lives, even if you're not in their lives, it doesn't matter. But if you're in their lives, all you can do is guide them one way or the other. And, you know,
agreed.
They'll either take the advice or they won't.
Consensus is he's an asshole.
Yes.
Asshole. Yeah.
The actual asshole. 100%.
The 100% asshole.
Fuck this guy. We all hate this guy.
Yeah, fuck you, John.
Okay, so the next one here Am I the asshole for taking away my daughter's Thanksgiving present because she refused to eat what my wife cooked? Hello, I'm a 40-year-old father of 2 kids, son 14, daughter 16. I recently got married to my wife, Molly, who's a great cook. She's been cooking for me and the kids for the past few months. However, my daughter doesn't like all the meals Holly cooks. Molly, not Holly. Sometimes she cooks her own dinners. Molly, as a result, would get hurt thinking her food wasn't good enough. She confided in me about how much it bothers her to see my daughter decline her food and cook by herself. I've talked with my daughter to address this issue, and she said she appreciates Molly's cooking, but naturally she cannot be expected to eat everything she cooks. I asked her to be more considerate and to try to take a few bites here and there whenever Molly cooks to avoid conflicts, and she's very sensitive. My daughter just nodded, and I thought it was the end of it. Last night I got home from a dinner meeting with a few coworkers and found Molly arguing with my daughter. I asked what's going on, and Molly told me my daughter said no to dinner she cooked and then went into the kitchen to prepare her own dinner, as if Molly's food was less than. I asked my daughter to come out of the kitchen and please sit at the table and eat at least some of the food her stepmom cooked, but she refused, saying she's old enough not to eat the food she doesn't like and pretend to like it, just like I wanted her to appease her stepmom. I told her she was acting rude and she had turned off the oven and told her no cooking for her tonight, and asked her to go to her room to think about this encounter, then come back to talk. When she started arguing, that is when I punished her by taking away her Thanksgiving gift that her mom left with me. We both paid for it. She started crying, saying it was too much and that she didn't understand why she was being punished. Again, I asked her to go to her room and cool off, but she called my in-laws, her uncle and aunt, who picked a huge argument with me over the phone, saying my daughter's old enough to cook her own meals and my wife should get over herself and stop picking on my daughter. But Molly explained she just wants to make sure my daughter eats well and that she cares. Otherwise, it wouldn't hurt so bad. My in-laws told me to back out of the punishment, but in my opinion, this was more than an issue about dinner, and I refused to let them intervene and hung up. My daughter's been completely silent and refuses to come downstairs. To clarify, the gift, which is an iPhone, was supposed to be for my daughter's birthday 2 months ago, but due to circumstances, we couldn't celebrate nor have time to get her a gift, so her mom would have it on Thanksgiving. Well, there's a lot to unpack here, I feel like. I got to go ahead and say that I think this dude's the asshole. I think it's kind of sus that he's not specifying what she's cooking and how often the daughter is eating or not eating. Because it very well, let's say the stepmom makes a lot of chicken and rice, and the daughter doesn't like chicken and rice. You know what I mean? So, the kid's 16. She's not bitching and complaining that I don't like this. Why do you make food I don't like? She's just like, I'll just cook my own food after you guys cook your food. I literally don't see any problem there. I think the stepmom is just, looking for an argument or being overly sensitive or, something. And then at the end, I think my parents use gifts a lot as a blackmail bargaining tool. So I think that's just fucking stupid. How are you going to call it a Thanksgiving gift if it was for a birthday? And how are you going to just the kid is just she just wants to eat something else and she's going to cook it herself. So what's the punishment for? You know what I mean?
So when thinking of the situation, it reminds me a lot of some people I know who are terrible cooks, but their spouses will go to bat and say those exact words. She's a great cook. Okay. That's one red flag. She's a terrible cook. That's what it is. Okay. Just to start off, just because she's sensitive, you have to say she's a good cook. And that's just one right there, red flag. You're lying, so that makes you automatically an asshole. Second, the only thing that I could see about the daughter making her own food is the daughter he's not specifying what she's making, but if it's not the only thing that I could see a problem with is if she's making something that's not going to be nutritionally sustainable, right? You know what I mean?
So she's always eating mac and cheese and hot dogs.
Exactly, something like that. Now,
but I feel like he would specify because that would make his argument more valid.
Exactly. So I think that, the daughter is just making whatever's available. For my children, my future children that I will have, I apologize ahead of time. I have the same meals pretty much every week. Taco Tuesday is a staple in my house. I have spaghetti probably once every 2 weeks, or Alfredo once. So either spaghetti or Alfredo once a week. Okay, pizza once a week. This is how I live my life. There's very, very few changes. I am not a man of change. I don't like change. I like being in control. So my kids they're fucked. They're fucked. Hopefully they like what I make, because if not, we're gonna have to make some real changes to what I do. But
oh man,
living
my parents. Go ahead.
Matt, I feel like Matt has. I have a feeling Matt and I might have the same opinion on this, but I really want to hear his first.
Do you want to hear my opinion on this
Yeah,
one? This one is my opinion is she should lay off drugs, and that's it. Boom, done. I just feel like she's thinking way too hard about the situation. And I don't mean that literally about laying off drugs. I just feel like she's thinking way too hard about the situation, and she should just enjoy life.
Agreed.
I know that
like that's not a personal attack.
No, like it's completely off topic, that response, and I realized that. But when I thought about the in-depthness of the question, I'm like, man, she is really overthinking this. Like, she's really thinking about everything she could think of, like every avenue, and trying to be prepared for it. And sometimes you just gotta let shit play out. So I the story was so long, I lost I lost like little bits and pieces of it. So like I would have to be like reminded of who did what, basically. But
a quick TLDR is stepmom, dad, daughter. Stepmom, dad says she's a good cook. The daughter doesn't eat her food. The daughter the daughter doesn't like what she's cooking or something. So the daughter decides to make her own food. And the stepmom is deeply offended by that, basically.
Is stepmom a wife?
I think she's wife, yeah.
Okay, because he also said that she's been cooking for a few months now. So they must have got married real quick. So she's a psycho, just saying. Overly sensitive psycho.
I mean, the TLDR did clear some things up. Like if she, again, you said that the daughter made her own food because she didn't like what the stepmom cooked. That is kind of I mean, I'd be like, what are you doing? Sit your ass down. You know what I'm saying? That's not your job. Like you receive food, you don't prepare it. You stipulate what it is. Again, I mean, I don't know.
I think it's about the style of parenting that you'll have. Growing up, I was locked out of the kitchen. We were not allowed to touch anything except what was given to us. But then for people like my friends, they were allowed to pretty much go into the kitchen and get whatever the fuck they wanted.
Right.
So my parents were very strict. Granted, again, I had three other siblings, so 4 of us total. It's expensive to feed a house that size. So I don't know.
Let me paint a picture for you of how this would have went down in 1997.
You got your ass beat.
My ass would have been sat down at the table. I would have had whatever the fuck was prepared put in front of me.
Right. Yeah, right.
And I'd say, you're either fucking eating this, you little bitch, or you're not fucking eating.
Because that's dinner. That's dinner.
Because whatever's in the fucking cupboard costs me fucking money, not you. Whether you're 16 and you're doing it and you're not bitching about it, whatever, you're going to sit the fuck down and eat what I prepared. I don't care if it's the stepmom. I don't care if I'm your real mom. Fuck you.
Can you say generational divide?
And I'm just telling you guys how 1997 would have went down.
Here's the thing. See, my parents parented me that way. It was, you're going to eat what's made or you're not going to eat. And then, but once we got to the point where we could cook, they were like, if you don't want to eat what's made, you could cook yourself something, but I'm not cooking you something else because you don't like this. Right. You know how many times I ate fucking soup beans? I hate beans. I hate beans so much.
Yes.
But I had soup beans so many times.
I hate green beans. They actually make me gag. All right. Every time I was a kid, I tried green bean, and I would be like, "Eh," and they're like, "Quit being dramatic and fucking eat it."
Right. You get in trouble for it, bro.
But with that out of the way, though, I think the entire situation is completely asinine, and by today's standards, it's a stupid argument.
Nick, how are you going to raise your kids?
How am I going to raise my kid? I mean, I kind of employ what I just told you guys. I mean,
sit your ass down and eat it.
My son's only 2 years old. All right.
Well, I know
his diet is very
Gerber baby food. I get it. Okay.
No, it's not even that.
Like,
he eats real food
down the road.
I put food in front of him every night, and if he chooses not to eat it, he doesn't eat, bro.
That's
like
funny.
if he comes back to me,
okay.
If he comes back to me 20 minutes later and says, hungry, I give him back the food that he denied eating the first time. Because that's the fucking food I have for him.
Because it's there and it's available, right?
Yeah.
Like, why deny?
You'll either eat this now, or you'll eat it for breakfast, or you'll eat it for lunch, or you'll eat it tomorrow for dinner.
Leftovers are essential, bro.
Yes, they are. 9 times out of 10, though, if he doesn't eat it on round 1, he'll come back when he's like desperate. He's like, okay, I'm actually fucking hungry. I guess I'll eat it.
I'm ready
it's
now.
Like, okay, here you go, dude. This is what I made you for dinner. You can eat it now. Like, that just is how it is. And that's how it's going to be going forward. We have to plan our dollars very, very carefully these days. Inflation and all these other terrible things are going on, causing, groceries to cost, more than you make a fucking hour,
I paid $17 for chicken today. That's fucking absurd.
Bro.
Yeah, shit like that. Exactly. Yeah. You're talking
about a roast the other day for $25, but a roast.
A roast,
a fucking roast, bro.
Bullshit.
$25. It was like a 3-pound roast, bro. Normally that should be like $12 to $14. $25. Oh my god.
At that point, just steal it. Just take
legit,
it,
bro. Legit. Just walk out with it. I didn't know.
Like, when I go to the grocery store and I look at the meat section, I don't expect to drop hundreds of dollars when I pick up one selection of meat.
What's your social security number, sir? We're gonna need a line of credit before you can have this meat.
Yeah,
the grocery stores have surpassed like private butchers at this point. Like JJ does a lot of meat, and for like when I first started working with him, he was like $1 above the store. But of course, it's good meat, so it's worth it. And now he's literally like, I think it's 50 cents less per pound for hamburger now to buy his meat that he, grows and everything.
Well,
how fucking wild is that?
I paid $4.97 today for 1 pound of hamburger. That is fucking insane.
I think it's over $5 here.
Yeah.
That is fucking insane. It just, I don't get it. I hate everything.
It's the end of the world, man.
And to the end of shit
as we know it.
Yeah.
We need a soundboard technician.
As we knew it. Yes, we do.
Go ahead, Nick.
They could have thrown in they could have thrown in some apocalyptic sounds right there.
And
I
feel fine.
But to that end, with things even being expensive, there's also like even at Aldi now, I'm noticing like they're just out of stock on shit. Like canned chicken, gone, can't buy it. Crunchy peanut butter, gone, can't buy it. There's just a lot of little things that you're used to getting. You can't get cream of mushroom. You can't get cream of chicken from Aldi. You can't get pasta sauce. You can't get egg noodles. I mean, we're talking about really basic fucking shit here.
Yeah.
And it's just gone. And no one knows when it's coming back.
It's the apocalypse.
Yeah, literally.
World War III is about to start, don't you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who's our enemy?
The internet.
Oh, you know who the enemy is.
The internet.
I think the enemy should be all grocery chains.
Grocery chain.
Here's my prediction: Russia invades Ukraine, China takes Taiwan at the same time. The world ends. Easy.
Oh man.
Easy math.
Too easy.
I think it's time for trivia.
I'll go first. Actually, I'll go first after you.
Do you want me to reiterate your questions again? Okay. So you were given a space in the the metaverse, sponsored by the company Meta, sponsored by Mark Zuckerberg, sponsored by the reptilians. So first, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to make? What are some of your rules? If rules don't apply, you can give me your name, because I figured maybe you know. And then the last thing is, how are you going to monetize it? So me, I am going to do a train museum. That's what I'm going to do. A train museum, right? That has all the kinds of trains. Okay. And it's called Metatrain, right? Yeah. I'm going to partner with everybody else in the metaverse, make a rail system. Not that you need one, because you can just teleport. But if you so choose, you can ride a train from Google Land to Appleville. You know what I'm talking about, right? And I'm going to monetize it twofold. You pay to get in, and you pay for the train ride. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna go no rules, but I'm gonna give the name, which is the whatever I said, Metaverse Train Bill or something like that. Metatrain. That's what it is. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, my turn. So I will be creating Daddy Space.
You can't just pick a strip club for every trivia. You know
You're fucking wrong. I will be selling sexual encounters through VR. Okay.
Prostitution legal in the metaverse?
Everything's legal in the metaverse.
It's the new Wild West.
You're not receiving any physical. Well, maybe.
Well, tell that to someone who owns NFTs.
Okay. So I'm going to make Daddy Space. You'll have a cover charge. So initial charge when you get in, and plus, of course, price of services. We will have performers who will.
Do you have to have one of those electric jacker offer machines?
I was just about to say that.
Or is that optional?
So that is optional. However, if you would like VIP service, it is required for you to hook up your electric masturbator.
Oh my God.
For the services, which will be charged at $59.99 per song, just like in the real life. Okay.
It's a little steep, I feel like, per song.
It's jacking you off. You're
okay.
Hopefully you can finish in the song. Otherwise, you're gonna be paying Daddy Blosser a lot of money. And yeah, so
better pregame in the parking lot.
Get yourself really close, okay? Yeah, there's gonna be a bunch to do. You can hang out and talk with your friends, enjoy some beers. We'll have stage shows just like normal, but you do have a cover charge, which is $100 a person. You, of course, will pay services, and then anything that you purchase inside of Daddy Space will be NFT, which basically means that you'll pay for imaginary beers just like everybody else does now. So, and I do get a cut of that. So Poppy will be making a lot of money, and we will even put that stop right on Metatrain. Okay?
Well, I like the partnership.
Yeah, sign me up.
Sign me up. First $59.99 for all friends are, of course, free, but you have to pay for your jacker offer electronic 3000.
Electronic 3000. Got it. That's pretty rad. All right. I guess I'll go. This is reminding me a lot of the restaurant episode, just saying. But now
they're all pretty similar.
Now it's virtual.
What can I say? Sex sells.
Sex sells. It does. You're not wrong. I would probably want to do something a little more laid back. Maybe like a Zen center. Just a place where people can meet up. Swap a tale. Just have fun. Just talk. Maybe play real board games, but in virtual reality. I feel like that'd be cool. Like if you wanted to play Speed Monopoly or something, you could have a virtual Monopoly board in there, or you could do virtual Twister. I feel like that'd be interesting with VR.
Can I flip the virtual Monopoly board? Is that a feature?
You'd have to.
Yeah, we can program it, man.
Monopoly destroys families. You have to have that feature.
It does distribute. Virtual Uno would actually burn the whole system down.
God.
Dude, we have had some wild Uno games in my lifetime. My God.
Yeah.
The things people say to you that you normally like.
People.
Yeah, like they're like your loved ones. And the animosity that they create when you're playing Uno with them is just extraordinary. So yeah, I feel like it would be a chill zone. I would personally not put like an entry fee on it. I'd put like a membership fee on it. And I would do like, something really modest. The more followers, the merrier, because it's a very social interaction area. So I would say like, we'll go with $2.99 a month to start out. And that'll get a lot of people hooked and lined. And if you
and then bump it up to $15.99.
Exactly. Once they're addicted.
Yeah. And those people, once the server starts getting a little crowded, it's like, okay, guys, we're gonna have to raise the price because you're taking up too much fucking space on this motherfucker. So your subscription fee is $10 now. So I want to do 15, bro. Like, not enough people make 15 an hour. I would not pay 15 a month to hang out somewhere virtually. I'm just saying. That's the best I got for my idea.
You have to remember, Nick, poor people can't get on the metaverse.
This is true. So I won't see you there.
Exactly. That's awesome. What do you got for us, Matt?
What's the main idea question? Let me get a.
You're given a space in the metaverse. What do you do with it, and how do you monetize it?
Okay, metaverse. Yeah, that's a good question, man. That shit is being sold bigly right now, for lack of a better term. Haven't quite thought about it, but it's ripe for the fixing, man. I think just interactiveness and the interacting with other people is really big. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's a whole new realm. I'm gonna have to think about that a little bit more.
It's a tough one, man. There's so many. That's why these guys don't like my trivia so much, is because there's too many. There's too many
like
you gotta go with it.
Yeah, I have to think about that one a little bit.
JJ likes it, so that's what matters.
Thanks,
JJ. I like the answers. I love the answers provided, though. I'm with those though for sure.
Yeah, no, they're just. Mine was complete BS. That's all.
It's funny that you say that.
I go strip club every single time, so.
I gotta go with Nick's center. I think Nick's gonna win this one.
You're fucking.
I'm sorry.
No. You always choose Nick. You always choose Nick.
Listen to my.
He chose you last time.
No, he didn't.
Listen.
Yeah, he did.
Boys.
Yeah,
Joshua, if I'm gonna spend the $70 on an automatic jerker offer, I'm just gonna go to Pornhub and find a free video. I can just plug that bitch into my laptop, and then it's a one flat rate of the jerker offer machine.
Once the metaverse comes, Pornhub will not be a thing.
Pornhub will be NFTs, bro.
I bet they have their own. I don't know.
Pornhub right now has the fucking 3D shit, bro. Like you jump into a room and you're in a VR setting, like you're looking.
That's what I'm talking about.
You get brought upon
these jerker offers and hook it up to the video, so it works with the video and your VR headset. And boom, you're done.
Boys,
we don't need
talking
women.
Performers, okay? We're talking real life women.
Josh, you're just mad. You're just mad that
I hate
you're
this
just
fucking
mad.
game.
You're just mad.
Is so bad at being a judge.
Old men in their basement pretending to be real life women.
All right, Tyler, just since no one's in a hurry, let's do a speed run of like a normal trivia game. Just ask us like, let's just do the smarter than a fifth grader or something.
That one was a big one, yeah.
Let's run through it. Let's do like first to three correct wins.
I'm with that shit. Hell yeah.
He's got to prepare. He's unprepared.
Oh, it's easy, dude.
I wouldn't say I'm unprepared. This is just dropped on me right now. I just had to look up the website.
You know, I'm gonna just tell you this. I will not complain every time that you pick Nick, because I feel that your friendship is drifting away from me. and you're choosing Nick.
Jerry.
We're gonna have to get Jerry Springer involved. I'm sorry.
I'm straight, man.
Did you guys use this site called ScaryMommy.com?
Yes.
Okay. I just making sure we're on the
Maybe
same
entitled
page.
to a settlement. Is that what that is?
It's where all the single mothers collaborated and made a website where you could find trivia questions.
Okay, next time I get trivia, I'm gonna do a better job for you guys. I'm gonna give you more constraints, so your thinking is not. You have to think in a line.
Hey man, some of us here are altered right now, right? You can't be asking us complex questions.
So do I just pick? Okay, so everybody gets a first, second. Okay, yeah, okay.
You're just gonna run through us, and whoever gets 3 answers right first is gonna win this thing. And you can skip around grades and subjects on there and do whatever, man.
Okay. Who's going first?
Well, Matt's our guest, so I say he goes first.
Matt, you're gonna go first. You're gonna get the first question on the list.
Ready.
The first day of the 20th century was what?
The first day of the 20th century was January 1st, 1999.
No, it was 1901. Okay, Nick, we'll go backwards on my screen. Okay. These questions are whack.
Hell yeah, it was close.
Only 100 years, Matt. It's fine. You were thinking 21st, buddy. It's okay.
Yeah, ask me that 2 dabs ago. I got you. 2 dabs ago. I got you. My bad.
Amazing what 2 dabs does to the mind.
Alrighty, Nick. Which one of these words is an adjective?
I hate you now.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
What is it?
You want to run it? Okay. Cotton, she, jump, or red?
She.
It's red.
Red. Yeah, probably. She is probably like a noun. Damn it. All right. Well, Josh, your turn.
Should we leave the questions open? Well, hold on. Let's do Josh. But should we leave them open or just do right or wrong for each person? How do you normally do it?
One time we did steals and one time we did no steals, so we can go either way.
Well, go ahead and do Josh, but since me and Nick both went, and then we'll, go from there. Whatever. It's whatever you guys normally do. My bad.
Oh, you're good, bro. Josh, you're about to be asked a 5th grade question. I can feel it. He's looking so hard for it.
Well, a lot of these are like math questions, and I don't want to like. This is not your question, Josh, but it's like how many minutes are in a half hour, or what's 25 times 3?
Those are easy.
Yeah.
25 times 3 is 75. That's 30 minutes and a half hour.
Tyler was struggling with them, so he's like, I can't ask this.
Josh, what language is the most widely spoken in South America?
Oh, that's funny. I know the answer too.
Oh, Mike was muted. English. Just kidding. Spanish.
Okay, I was like,
Spanish.
Matt,
do I have a point? Winner.
You do have a point. Do you guys want to do the steals now? We'll leave it open.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, the first person to answer after I ask it. Like after you get your turn, whoever answers first gets it.
So if Matt misses this, I'd have a chance to answer.
Yeah. Okay.
Got it. Yeah.
Matt, the Statue of Liberty was a gift from where?
France. Was it Paris?
Correct. France. So we got 1, 1, and 0. Nick, who invented the light bulb?
Edison.
Oh, we're tied at 1. Moving on to 2nd grade. We're doing social studies right now, just so we're all on the same page. It's really easy. Josh, fireworks were invented in what country during the 7th century?
China.
Damn.
Correct.
Whoa. Nice. I didn't know that.
China, yeah.
Nice.
First country to have gunpowder too.
Okay.
Crazy.
They also made firearms first, which was the
Right. Yeah, that makes
fireworks.
Gunpowder.
sense.
Matt, what are Christopher Columbus's 3 ships? What are the names of them?
Santa Maria. Oh man, what are the other two? No, the Santa Maria. Forget the other two.
It was the oh, okay, no, go ahead, Nick. I almost ruined it.
The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. I do you in the bottom. I'm a drinking
There you go.
sangria.
I got 1 out of 3. I'm not mad about it.
You're doing great, man. You're doing great.
So
all
does that put Nick at 3, or does that put him at 2?
I'm at 2.
2. So we're all tied at 2 again. Okay. So Nick, you get to go again for the win. I'm gonna give you a 5th grade social studies question.
Hell yeah. Let's bring it.
I'm not gonna complain, but I'm gonna complain.
This one's pretty hard.
It probably
I don't
is.
know.
I probably don't know it.
What was the most widely grown crop in the middle colonies?
Oh, see, I want to guess tobacco, but it's probably not tobacco.
Is that your guess?
Yeah, tobacco. I'm saying
It's wrong.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah. So, Josh, you have a chance.
Grains like wheats.
That's correct. It's wheat.
Nice. Good guess, man. Holy shit.
Are you the winner?
I'm the fucking winner.
Josh, you're smarter than a 5th grader, bro. Good job, man.
Are you smarter than a 5th
grader?
So
I'm no longer mad.
My bad.
Appreciate it.
I didn't realize at first that these are separated by like category class. So the first 2 rounds were all what are they? Math questions. That's why they were all math questions.
That's pretty funny. All right, cool. So I won again. Eat my butt, all of you.
Who has the most wins? Is it you or does Nick have them?
Me.
What do you have? Do you know?
I have. This will be my 4th one.
Well, but this is episode 10.
Yep.
I've never won one.
Exactly.
So if you only have 4, that means Nick has 6.
I've not won any either, guys.
Yeah.
Clear up any confusion.
And on that note, everyone, our basic math skills were dropped a long time ago.
This is why we don't do the math questions.
I got 3.
No one told me.
This is why the cash register tells you what change to give the customer.
You know, I thought I had 4 wins.
Okay,
but
so
I guess we gotta go listen to them all.
Here's some food for thought. Tyler and I didn't do a game on our last episode, obviously.
You're so smart.
So Josh and I are actually at a. If Josh believes he has 4, that would leave me with 5 and you 0. So there's that.
You always choose Nick. That's what it has to be.
No.
Well, okay. Your 4 answers have been a strip club. We got to take that into consideration. No matter what question I'm asking. I asked you what kind of restaurant you wanted to make, and you said Daddy's Club, Daddy's Issues, the same strip club that's in the metaverse.
Hey, that has been my dream since I was a effing teenager. So.
Oh, I know. I saw the binder you made.
Well,
he's going PG on me with the effing.
Yeah.
Frickin'
man.
Frickin' Flanders.
Flanders.
I guess that's it. It's been fun, guys. Thank you for coming on, Matt. We'll have to have you
absolutely.
You're a pleasure to speak to. We had a bit of a rough start, but it was a pretty good episode. I'm gonna do the plugs. Check out our TikTok, TJN Podcast, Facebook page, TJN Podcast, our Twitter, which is gonna be TJN Pod. That should be up by the time this episode's up. I guess that's it, man. Leave us some emails, tjnpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to get some stories or something from you guys to read on the show. JJ's a bitch. And again, thank you, Matt. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thank you so much, Matt. It was great having you on.
It was awesome to meet you guys.
Yeah, it was great meeting you as well, man.
Yes, Matt. Thank you again, man. I'm glad we were able to get this done and collaborate.
Oh yeah.
And hopefully we can do it again in the future, man.
Oh, I'm down.
You fit right in with the crowd, so
yeah, bro.
It went well, dude.
Anytime. Just let me know. I'm down, fellas.
All right, man. Well, that is a wrap, and everyone have a good night.
Bye-bye.